And looking at America from outside, you guys need to know this, right?
Yeah.
It's a completely different picture.
Yeah.
It's almost like a commercial that is false advertising.
It's like
the impression of America I had was Disney movies and Hollywood movies. So I came here in November of 2006. So I went to Pershing High School. Okay, 7 Mile and Rock.
You gotta know what that was like.
Pershing High School.
Okay, so you guys moved to Detroit.
That
then went to the hood
like
school.
the deep.
And my first day in school, there was not one white person. Eventually I found out there was one white person in the school that year. 2007, the economy collapsed.
So
and we
that is
thought
true.
it was the land of opportunity. Everyone
And then Detroit filed bankruptcy in like 2008.
I don't do the most, but I do a lot. I'ma make a toast, cause we still alive. No big, I feel like Pac. I shoot a shot.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Real Estate Built in Real Estate podcast, where we talk about the real shit and not about real estate. I'm one of your hosts, Brooke Jones, aka the Millennial Agent.
What's up, guys? It's your girl Tyra Nicole.
And I am Nicole Pay. And today we have broker success coach. I just got stuck in the chair, but we're not going to worry about that. Syed Mohsen, thank you so much for being with us.
Welcome.
We're going to disregard that I
me.
totally got stuck on the table. Okay. All right. So we're going to dive deep into it. Well, thank you and welcome. Like, what made you want to be on our podcast?
I'm always looking
Because we're
for-
dope as shit, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That's what it
I
was.
hear you guys talk about real stuff, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Syed or Syed, I guess that's controversial
Syed,
how you
right.
say your name. We just got corrected that it's Syed. Nobody really knows like your
Yeah.
personal story, so I'm so interested to dive into like the man behind the business.
For sure.
Yeah.
So let's
Love
start
to.
with your childhood. Where'd you grow up?
So I grew up in Middle East. A lot of people actually don't know that. Yeah. So I grew up in Middle East for 13 years. My dad had a job there, and my whole family. My dad was there for 23 years. So I grew up in Middle East, but I was born in Bangladesh. It's a country next to India, if you guys know where it is. And I've been here 17 years. Yeah.
Okay.
So what are your parents? Like what is
Bengali. They're not Middle Eastern. Yeah.
Oh, so what took them
It's-
to the Middle East?
Work.
Work?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Where
it's
in
a
the Middle
whole
East
another-
were you guys living?
Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
Ooh,
Wow.
I want to know about that.
Yeah,
I
how
know.
was that?
Do you have
When did you?
memories?
I would
How
say-
long were you before you came here? Like,
So I was 17 when I came here.
oh,
I
so you
grew-
were there that long?
13. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. Let's talk
Let's
about
dive
that.
into that for a minute. So, like, what was that life like? Because we, as Americans, we have this vision of
Yeah.
what we well, we don't have a vision. We live it over here. But to actually be born in another country, grow up that many years, and then come over. First, let's start. What was it like growing up in a different country?
It's pretty much like America. I would, especially now, it's America. But back then, it was pretty much like America as far as like getting access to healthcare. It's like at the time back then it was second world country. Now it's more becoming like first world country.
Okay.
But only difference I would say from America would be freedom of speech. And there are no clubs, there are no alcohol out in the open, there are no nightclubs, no bars, no.
Wow.
And this is
no
Saudi
alcohol, I
Arabia
would say.
specifically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, now it's changing. It's changing a lot right now. But back then, it was you wouldn't be able to, and not even get access to black market for alcohol. Yeah.
What about like the women? How are the women treated differently?
So
there?
from the outward, I know it looks like, oh, women are oppressed, but honestly, like inside of households, women have more say. Like they control all the money, they control the decision making. So yes,
HBIC up in there.
but it's culturally, that's what it
Yeah.
is. Culturally, that's what it is. But as far as like Saudi Arabia back then, I'm not Saudi, so I could talk about this stuff, right?
Right.
They can. They're for real. They cannot. So women at the time they were not allowed to drive. Now they do. Now they have changed that. They're trying to become more progressive, you can say, and become more accepting and promote tourism from the West. And so now they're changing a lot of the laws. But back then, women couldn't drive, and without a reason. There was no like
There was
valid
no-
justification behind why women couldn't drive back then. So as far as like implementation of law, culturally is very, I would say, misogynistic.
Okay.
But that's changing now. It's completely different thing. But back then, that's what it was.
So you were there up until the age of what? You said 13.
13, yeah.
And then where after 13?
We went back to Bangladesh.
Okay.
There is a stigma against Saudis. You guys know 9/11. Whether they did it or not, they, U.S.
And
claims.
so that was around that time?
How old were you?
I was in Saudi at the time. Yeah, I was
Oh,
like
wow.
8
when
years
that
old.
happened?
Yeah.
I watched it on TV like All Americans, and we were like, it wasn't us. Like we were all
You're
like,
like, it's not me.
I want to know
Yeah,
about
what-
that.
what
How
was
was
that
that experience?
like?
Did a lot of people think that you were?
no,
like,
I mean in Saudi, I was at Saudi back then, so
Yeah.
I wasn't in America, so I didn't face what other Muslim people or Arabs felt in America. But when that happened, we knew it wasn't Saudis.
Yeah.
Like, we were just laughing about it. Like, what are
Okay.
they talking about?
Yeah.
Can we talk about who you think it was? I'm
No.
just kidding.
So
American
you moved
You
over.
probably think the same thing we do. We're just saying.
So you moved to Saudi Arabia. How long were you there for?
No, you don't need the money.
So,
Or, I'm sorry, you moved to Bangladesh.
Bangladesh, yeah,
Bangladesh.
4 years.
You were there
4
for
years
4 years.
before we came here. Yep.
And what was that transition like, moving from
What's-
over there to America?
Well, what's the time? I want to know how far is Bangladesh from Saudi? Like,
About 6 hours. So
okay, so
as far
because I
as
wanted to put it in perspective of like
well,
where
as
we
far
were
as
in the U.S.
climate, it was a complete shock for me because I was for 13 years in one place and it's dry, hot. It's like 140 degrees average weather, 120 degrees average weather.
Stop it.
Yeah, for
Average?
real.
All year round?
Average.
All year round?
120 is average. 140 is like it's getting too hot, kind of like 90
It's
here,
getting
right?
it's getting too hot at one. It's too hot at 140, y'all. Too hot.
It's because it is
Is it-
AC
is it- it's
everywhere.
different?
It's
Is it-
AC everywhere.
Is
That's
it a
how-
different type of
I was gonna
heat?
say
Is it
it's
really
probably
humid?
No, it's dry. It's
Dry.
not humid, so it's bearable.
So it's not Las Vegas heat. Las Vegas heat is like
It's like
crazy.
Arizona heat.
It's like
That
Arizona
dry
heat. That dry.
It's like
more
desert.
like South Carolina heat versus
That
California
dry.
heat.
It's really dry.
South
Okay.
Carolina is humid, or Florida heat, like humid, right?
Florida's like crazy humid,
Yeah.
but that's not
so
dry
that's
then.
Bangladesh. So Bangladesh was like super humid. So when I moved there for 4 years, I thought I knew hot, but that was hot. Even though Bangladesh
I
doesn't go
get
over
it.
90 degrees
So it was hotter there.
because of humidity.
Because of the humidity.
Humidity.
No.
So it's like that smothering type of
Yeah.
heat.
Did you
Yeah.
have family in Bangladesh?
Yeah. So
that you
most of my dad's side is still in Bangladesh. Most
Okay.
of my mom's side, they're in America and in London and England.
London?
Yeah, in England. Yeah. There's a good
I'm like loving
huge.
this.
There is a huge Bengali population in England. I mean, their mayor is Bengali. London, the city
Oh,
of
really?
London's mayor is a Bangladeshi person.
No way.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I'm in awe right now because I have like family in like Canada, little Italy.
We have families in Canada
you
too.
literally,
Yeah.
you're like
Everywhere.
literally.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
So you
it.
have a lot of like different cultures
Yeah. So
within you.
So we're Bengali, right? So
Yeah.
I grew up in Saudi, even though like I don't consider myself Bengali because I don't know nothing of it because I didn't grow up in that culture.
Okay.
So when I moved there, it was a culture shock because that was me learning my actual culture for the first time. Saudi, the society, I don't want to talk bad about it, but I can now. I'm not there. It's
That's
like
the realest people,
immigrants.
really.
Immigrants
Right.
are they're a different class. If you're not Saudi born and you're not ethnically Saudi, especially from subcontinent or third world countries, those immigrants, American citizens, they're like zero class, like above the first class, right? So meaning they're above everyone else.
Right.
But the subcontinent immigrants are taught as second class citizens and they don't have any rights. Even though like I wasn't like enslaved or anything, but there were like separate areas of like different districts, like Hunger Games, like
Yeah.
there's different
Yeah.
districts. They have different districts for different class of people.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the indigenous people who look like me here. What we would have to deal with, even though it's not.
You're on the opposite extreme, where even though you're indigenous,
Well, what I mean as far as the U.S., as far
Yeah.
as they look at us as second and third class.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So-
yeah, but it's like over there, it's systematic and it's actually established their thought process. Over here,
more out in the
indigenous
open.
presses.
It's
Yeah.
more out in the open over there. Okay.
Over here, indigenous people, they don't have the rights to expose anything on you. They don't even have the system. They don't own the system.
So how did that feel?
Yeah, like that's what I was just
I
going
don't
to
know. Growing
ask
up,
that.
it was normal. But then when we moved to Bangladesh, I started to get all of it. I was like,
Yeah.
what?
Like, what
was
this
the-
stuff is legal over there?
What was an example that you could give us of where you were treated differently over there?
Oh yeah, it's every day. Like growing up, it would be like Saudi kids versus us, like fighting. It's like a clan thing, class thing. They would just come throw rocks at you just because you are not Saudi. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. But anyway,
That
I don't want
is-
to make it about Saudi.
Was
No,
it a
that's-
large
that's so
population
unbelievable
of
to me.
people that weren't Saudi though? Was it a large?
Worker class, yeah, mostly
Okay.
workers, yeah,
Okay.
mostly people that do construction work, build roads, kind of like America in 1700s, except for the slavery.
But that's the point, because what they do is they take the Western government, and they implement it in these other countries.
Yeah,
And
But
they-
he's saying that was already established there. So was it?
no, what I'm saying
it's
is
kind
that-
of like having the Western way of life in 1700s still running there as a legal process of slavery.
because
So-
they just took over,
Yeah.
just like they go
Yeah.
take over every
and they
country.
empowered the local tribes to do
Correct.
that. So I'll give you an example. You want to understand the
Yeah.
whole legal slave system. So each person, as a business owner, you have the right to go sponsor workers from third world countries. Okay, what that makes you is a sponsor. Okay, and you would have a contract for that person to be able to come work here in this country. Right? In America, it still exists, right? But there is human rights and there is equal work opportunity.
labor law,
Is it almost like a-
labor laws and
Right.
everything.
Is that like a visa? And I
It's
don't
a
want to
work
sound ignorant.
visa. Yeah, it's a work visa.
Okay, I don't want to sound ignorant, but I just want
it's
to
a work
understand.
visa. It's a work visa, but that person owns your visa. So whoever sponsors you owns your visa. So what these business owners they do is they go to the third world countries and they promise like I don't know, you can $1,000 a month salary. But once they bring you, they give you 1/3, 1/5 of that salary, and they say we're gonna hold your salary because we want you to work for us for 5 years.
See,
So, yeah.
this is blowing my mind right now, and I know this is about you, Syed, but
Yeah.
me understanding everything that you're saying is what I study about what happened in the 1700s. It's actually indentured slavery to where they own your rights for 5 to 7 years,
Yeah.
and then after that, you can become a regular class citizen or go back to where you were from.
Yeah. No, well, in this now it's getting better. Like they're
Okay.
making it more progressive as far as the laws goes. But back then, you couldn't go. Only way back is back home, which for a lot of people is not even an option because to get that work visa, they have spent their whole generation savings. Okay, so they're in big debt for this person to be here, so they can't really go back. But then it's like these slave owners or sponsors, they can sell you to another one.
Like,
they
Unbelievable.
can sell your
Really a
contract.
slave.
The
That's
modern
wild.
day,
Yeah.
My father, he worked for BMW. Well, that was what BMW was back there, but it was a business owner who owned a BMW dealership there, and he worked for that company for 2 years without pay, while all of us living there. Yeah.
That's stressful.
Yeah,
Right.
so that was me when
So,
I was like
I was
4 or
gonna say-
5 years old.
So
but,
when
yeah.
you say like he worked there 2 years without pay. How many like siblings? Like what was your family size?
Yeah.
At the time, four kids with my mom and my dad. Yeah,
And he worked 2 years without pay.
yeah.
Did you work there at all while you were there?
No, I was
No.
13 years old. Thank God.
Well, I don't know.
You're
if
like-
they
Thank God.
start working early there.
I mean,
not-
we could
Yeah.
probably go on forever
So we
about
try to
that.
live off
Like,
of like a savings or something.
yeah, like
Yes,
how did
yeah.
you survive?
Savings.
Okay.
And then every once in a while, they would probably like they feel bad and they give you some money for groceries, right? But by the time we left Saudi Arabia, my dad was a general manager in a company. So it's like even within slaves, you got house slaves and field slaves. Right?
Right.
You work hard to get into the house, right? And it's
So were
literally
you
that-
considered a different class at that point? Like,
No,
Or were
it's
you
the
still?
same
You were
class.
still the same.
No, the class is slave or indentured servant. So your
No, I understand,
servitude
but-
is how you make a living.
But I guess my question was though that
Not really. You don't really upgrade until you become a Saudi citizen. There is no way to do that unless you got married to a Saudi and you had Saudi kids, right? So there is no way, a legal way, even till today, to get citizenship. They will give you residence or they'll give you work visa, but it's strictly assigned to people who are born
And is that even allowed
in a Saudi lineage. Yeah.
to marry someone that's not?
Religiously, no.
I was
Look
gonna
down
say like
upon.
that's probably not even accepted.
So as Muslims, whether Saudi or not, right? I'm Muslim, right? So as Muslims, we can marry Christians and Jews,
okay.
but not a non-believer, not someone who believes in something else.
So religion-wise, you can marry, but
No.
so it doesn't have anything to do with race.
No.
It's religion.
No.
So as long as it's a religion, like
The
Christian.
belief in God. That's
Okay.
it. Yeah.
So what's the religion of Saudi Arabia?
Muslim.
Muslim.
Yeah.
So-
And then what
Muslim.
about Bengali?
Muslim.
Okay, so it's the
like I would
same.
say 85 to 90% of Bengalis are Muslim. Yeah.
Okay.
So there are Hindus,
Okay.
within the Bengali communities. Yep.
Small group of Christians.
Yeah, very small. Like
Very small?
probably less than 1%, probably 0.5 or something.
Mm.
More in so Bangladesh used to be Pakistan. This is another history lesson. So
We're here for it.
1950s, but Bangladesh, Pakistan, and India, they divided, and it divided into two countries. One is Pakistan, one is Bangladesh, and that division happened based on religion, right? Where all Muslims wanted a state for themselves and
Right.
Hindus wanted a state for themselves. But once, so 1950s to 1970, Bangladesh was Pakistan until the war broke out. There was like this language thing where Pakistan wanted national language to be Urdu and Bangladeshis wanted Bangla, which is complete different language. And the war break out, like Bangladeshis wanted their own sovereignty and it broke. So in 1971, Bangladesh became Bangladesh. So it's been only like 50 years. Yeah.
Like
Okay, and so
I'm
then
in awe.
why did you
I
guys
really
move to
am.
the United States?
Yeah,
Oh, why? We thought better life, but yeah, it is
the
better
American
life.
dream.
Yeah.
American dream for sure. But it's like moving here and looking at America from outside. You guys need to know this, right?
Yeah.
It's a completely
I hear
different
this,
picture.
Oh,
Okay?
absolutely.
It's not what it's like. It's almost like a commercial that is false advertising.
It's like Facebook. Like everybody puts on Facebook
Catfish.
what catfish. Like everyone's on Facebook like, oh, like I'm that person, and then you like meet the person, you're like, what the hell?
Well,
Like,
explain
this is
that.
so
Explain
not
that a little bit.
So
Hollywood.
impression of America I had was Disney movies and Hollywood movies.
absolutely.
Especially in 90s, if you really think about it, like there's not a lot of black people, right?
Not at all.
So I came here in November of 2006. And we tried to go into
That
Warren
wasn't that long
schools, but
ago.
we lived in Detroit, so I had to pass this exam, and it will put me on 9th grade if I went to Warren schools. So I'm like, okay, Detroit schools. I was a senior when I came here, so it's like I don't want to lose those 3 years.
Yeah.
And any good
Yeah.
schools, they're not going to let me become a senior. Like Cass Tech was our first option. And then so I went to Pershing High School. Okay, 7 Mile and
You
Rock.
gotta know what that was like.
Oh, Pershing High School.
Hold on, where did you guys live
That was
first?
like
Hold on.
that's
Were you
like
living in
the
Detroit?
city.
6 Mile
That's
and
the
Coney.
hood.
Okay, so
That's
you
a
guys moved
city.
to Detroit.
That
And
is
then went to the
that
hood
is like
school.
the deep
And-
city.
And they probably couldn't even speak English, right?
Could you speak English?
I very like my English has improved a lot, like meaning accent has minimized, but I knew how to speak English. Like
Okay.
I was a 4.0 student. Like we were educated on English school.
You went to Pershing High School?
Yeah.
We want to know what that was like.
So my first day in school, there was not one white person.
Right.
Eventually, I found out there was one white person in the school that year.
Where
okay?
are you with your siblings?
Huh?
Like, where are you in the sibling
Third.
wise?
I'm third.
So you're
Yeah.
third. So
Yeah.
so the two older, did they go?
They went straight to Wayne State University.
College.
Yeah,
Okay,
because
so they
had
went straight to
already
college, and then you
graduated.
had one underneath you that
Yeah.
also went.
Went to Pershing High School. Yeah.
What grade
Okay.
was? Is it a boy
was-
or a girl?
Yeah, what
All
are
boys?
like? What are your siblings?
Two sisters
Oh.
older than me, and my brother's younger. Yeah.
Okay,
So
so your
two and two.
brother went
Okay.
with you.
Yeah.
What
So-
grade was he in?
He was a freshman. No,
Okay.
actually, he was a freshman.
So you were a
No.
senior. He was a.
He was a freshman.
So you guys are 3
yeah.
years apart.
Yeah, 3 years. 3 years
Okay.
apart. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so let's
yeah.
talk about that. Talk about. I feel like that would be somewhat of a
Yeah,
culture
this is
shock.
gonna be more than 30
It was a
minutes,
huge
FYI.
culture shock. See,
Like-
like I could understand English, right? But Detroit English,
Yeah.
I was
East
like,
side.
Ebonics.
I was gonna say
Because
you're
they're
on the
not
east
taught
side.
Ebonics in Bangladesh or Saudi.
there is a term for this. Is the first time. What is this?
Ebonics.
Ebonics.
Ebonics?
You never
You've
heard
never heard
No.
Ebonics?
No.
I've never heard that either.
You've never heard of Ebonics?
What is it?
Where's my phone?
So just like
Look up
if you go to Jamaica, they speak patois, which is a form of
can't believe
It's
English.
a
I've never
slang.
heard of that.
What is
Ebonics
slang?
is like a
What?
slang.
It's black. They've made that up as like the black people's slang.
Slang. Like,
Basically.
like it's a
I've never heard
slang.
that
You've
I
never
wish
heard
I
of
knew this.
Ebonics?
I would like master it right away. 'cause I-
You would have been it. That
Yeah.
he would have came over and if he would have known
So were you
Ebonics.
trying to fit in? Did you feel like you had to fit in?
It wasn't about fit in. I already stood out, right? Meaning, like, it wasn't like meaning. Black people love. I don't know us for some reason. That's what I found
Yeah.
out through my
Yeah.
experience.
We're all the
that
same.
It was very easy to get along. There was nobody bullying you.
Mm-hmm.
They were actually bullying black people, black kids bullying black kids, but they wouldn't bully me.
Correct.
Yes, the first week it was like I
Culture
was
shock.
dropped in like hell. Not because I wasn't racist. I was
That's a
just
story.
not
no,
aware
it's
that
a culture
different.
shock.
there was
Yeah.
that many
It was
black
different.
people.
Yeah,
right?
it's a total culture shock.
Never saw that many black people in your life.
Not like every single person.
He's seen
Like,
Disney,
South-
and then he got dropped in
Saudis
Detroit.
are black, okay?
That's
That's what I was
Saudis are
gonna
black,
say though.
okay?
Like,
Yeah.
well, where you came from, like brown skin, like is not.
It's not.
So why was it
the
such a
shock
cul-
was just
is
why
because
was it?
we watched movies where
So
black
you were-
people didn't exist. We watched movies. There was like one black people
Yeah.
person in the
There
whole
was no
movie.
black Disney princesses back then.
No.
It's 90s,
That was
right?
2006, right?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, there was no black.
Listen, hold on, wait.
No,
I
that's
think Princess and the
2006.
Frog was the first black princess.
They had the Little Mermaid.
Listen, this
Okay.
is 2006, guys.
Correct. They had just recently Little Mermaid being.
I promise. It's like from American people are very. Now I'm American now. Like I'm an
Yeah.
American citizen. I like more American stuff than I like any like even Bengali stuff, right? So we are so like insensitive to how we portray America. I mean, now we are more sensitive about it. We make sure everyone's included, right? But
But
I
I
think
don't-
it was more of that
know.
expression from movies
Yeah.
that I didn't
But
expect.
Brandy was Cinderella.
Correct.
Back then,
And
though?
Cinderella was European.
2006.
That was-
This is 2006.
And listen to this, 2007, the economy collapsed.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
And we
yeah,
thought,
that
we
is
thought
true.
it was the land of opportunity, and then we
And
find
then you came in, you're like bullshit.
everyone's unemployed.
And then Detroit filed bankruptcy in like
Detroit,
2008. So it was
Oh,
just.
So
wow.
you came in a shitstorm.
So what did your parents do for work when they moved here?
Factory jobs. I mean, my father is very qualified. He could run any company. You know, his background is sales. His background is automotive. Like the company that he was GM for over there was a company that supplied, I guess, like you can say, like circuit for airports, for like circuit panels, companies that do.
So you came to the right
Yeah.
city.
Yeah.
I mean, we thought so. And the first 4 years was not it. Okay? I mean, my first job was at Church's Chicken, and
I can see you
7
at
Mile and Ryan. 7 Mile and Ryan.
Oh,
And it
that
was because
Church's.
right next to my school,
Oh
right?
my god, I love it. I would have never.
But
like,
is that owned
never
mostly
known
by
that.
Indians, right? The churches. That's
It's
all
run
that I
by-
usually
I
see
think,
there.
Yeah, you're probably right. I never
Even
thought
at
of
that churches.
Yeah, I
It's
never
like
thought
there.
of that, but it was mostly immigrants working there.
Yeah. What's
yeah.
up with that?
Yeah, all the immigrants actually went to Detroit. Like my family went to Detroit too. So it was a huge place for immigrants to
So
come
where did you
from.
guys come from?
Malta.
Malta. Okay.
Not me personally, my grandparents.
I would guess Mexico. I don't know why.
Mexican? Yeah, I get that a lot. Yeah.
That's a lot.
I know. Like I'm still over here. Like first job was Church's Chicken. You went to Pershing High School.
Tell
But
us
what
some
was-
experiences at Persian.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, I only went to Pershing from November of 2006 until July of 2007. I graduated 07.
Okay.
Okay,
Right.
but your little brother still went
He
through
went
all.
a whole 4
So I
years,
can
and he
only-
was an honor roll student, and like he got all these benefits that because he started like from the beginning. I didn't have a scholarship, even though I I graduated with 3.94, but no scholarship because I wanted to not lose time. I mean, it was good. If I actually dedicate this to Pershing High School, my experience in the beginning of America, finding it hard to being successful in real estate. Like when I started in real estate, I started working in Detroit. That was like my most successful year. My third year in real estate, I sold 40 houses.
When was that?
40
What
of them.
year?
This is in 2014.
Okay.
2014, 2015.
So you were a couple years out of high school then.
Yeah, so I went to Wayne State University with like financial aid, so I had to work. So I was working as a server in Birmingham.
Why couldn't you get a scholarship though?
Because it was too late. Like no scholarships were not taking any application.
Oh yeah, because you had just came.
Yeah.
So why didn't you go to CAS again?
Because I would have to
He
start
would
as a
have to
freshman.
start, yeah.
Start all over
Yeah.
again.
Because he tested. He had to test, and when he
Yeah,
tested,
so
he would have
it's
been.
too late.
only like Detroit, like bottom ones would take you where you are based on your credit.
Got you.
Without having to start all the way. Like we tried King, we tried Cass.
Yeah. Okay.
So what did you go to school for technically? At Wayne State.
Wayne.
Mechanical engineering.
What made
Yeah.
you not go into
Yeah.
mechanical engineering?
Because that's
So
way
2.5 years into it, the big threes filed bankruptcy. Okay, so 2.5 years into my mechanical engineering, the big threes filed bankruptcy, and I didn't know economics. I didn't know how American economy works. I'm like, okay, my dream job is to work for Chrysler or Ford, and they're filing bankruptcy. And we were seeing engineers laid off by them
Right.
to teach us as professors. I'm like, I am not going to be this person. I'm not like, sure, I don't know math, but this math don't add up.
Yeah. The math ain't math.
I'm making
Math
$2,000,
thing, you're right.
$2,000 a week serving tables to be able to pay for parking in downtown Detroit. My car is not safe. Back then, it was not safe.
Right.
So you would have to park in the
Downtown
structure.
wasn't the same downtown.
Yeah, it was
Right.
not.
Oh, it's
Like,
changed a lot, yeah.
I wish I knew this would be this downtown. I would win.
Oh,
I
yeah.
would at
A
least
lot of
own
people-
like some of these high
Some
rises.
kind, yeah.
At least a parking lot or something.
I know. Let's talk about they're charging $50 for parking for some of these events.
Parking, it's insane.
It's
like
crazy.
I mean, every Lions game we pay at least like $65, $70
Yeah.
parking.
I'm sure
per
you guys
game.
remember like 80% of buildings being vacant, right? Like,
Absolutely.
that's me experience America. Like that was my first.
That
was
was
a
your
ghost
first.
town.
So
You
you were
know.
probably like rain check. Like, so I'm going. So, but what did you think about that, or how did you take that?
To me, it was like we are immigrants, right? It's for us. It's like, okay, this is if we still make a life here, it's still better
Still
than living
better.
in it.
Yeah.
I mean, with $2,000 a month, you could live like a king in Bangladesh. You would not have to worry about anything, right? So yes, our living cost is high here, but once you build something here, you are not. It's not going away, right? The security is there. The infrastructure is here. So
So it's more
I guess
freedom.
That's what your question. 2.5 years into my school, I added up the math. I'm like, it's not gonna be good. Like even if I get a degree in engineering, I wasn't so passionate about engineering. I really love physics and math. I'm really good at it, but I wasn't like, okay, I love this. I'm gonna go get a degree for the sake of doing it, right? So I started an online business when I was in starting my third year in school. And I was flipping like iPhones, iPads, and like buying it off of Craigslist, selling it on eBay. Like,
Okay.
it was a
So this is where
full-on
you started
hustle.
your like e-commerce stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it still could be a full-on hustle if you know how to do it. So
Yeah.
what we would do is day before any phone would come out, we would lowball everyone who's selling the previous version. So if at the time back then it was iPhone 3, iPhone 3 coming out or 3S or 3G, something coming out. So we would go lowball everyone who's trying to sell their iPhone whatever previous version. We'll lowball them, like we'll start at 100 and then go up.
Wow.
and
you guys
and we
sell
would buy it for 100, 150, 200 and sell it for 300, 350, 400.
You say we. Who's we?
So I started as myself, then I found like 5 other people who were kind of doing the same thing, so we like joined together like,
Okay.
hey, you lowball everyone, You go pick up phones.
Oh.
You
Everyone had a
Everybody had their
role. Y'all
own.
had a role as
you list
operation.
the phones, you do the shipping, and we had a whole operation.
Okay.
Then we were like, okay, if we could do this with electronics, what else can we do this for? Like, what else can we buy that we can flip? And so we started flipping health and beauty products, so Bed Bath and Body,
Okay.
Victoria's Secret, Coach. We would go into outlet stores. Every outlet store, a lot of people don't know that every outlet store does a semi-annual sale, and it's like 75%, 85% off. And majority of the semi-annual sales, they sell stuff that they are discontinuing. So it's like a
Are you giving
loophole in the
away, giving away
system.
some sauce right now?
Yeah, I'm telling you,
Alright.
like,
Yeah, keep
especially
talking.
young
I
people should
wanna
be
hear
doing this
this.
I
stuff,
know.
right? And again, like, this is what gave me like the power to like take risk, right? It's like once I learned like making money was this easy.
Yeah.
I'm like, why am I getting an engineering degree? Like, that's what I'm doing it for anyway, right?
Right.
Because
So-
that's what they taught us. That's why.
I know,
It
right?
is. That's what you're taught. You
Yeah,
have to have a
and,
degree.
And today, a degree is not even worth anything. I see people with like master's degree working like $70,000 jobs, right?
My master's degree has nothing to do with what I'm doing now. I'm just paying
You're
the
over
student
here.
loans on it. That's all I'm
It's a
doing.
setup.
So then,
I'm
how did you
looking
get
at
into
it.
real estate?
Oh yeah, so we started and we were doing it that big. Like when we got to like outlet malls, our eyes were like possibilities are endless, right? So we would cash out outlet malls on semi-annual sales like 50,000. The highest we did was 300,000.
What are you cashing out on? What, like
Everything
merchandise?
that's on 85%. Yeah. We just didn't
I
get to
wanna
like
go
bras
for
and
30.
like we stayed away from that clothing line. But we did like perfumes, lotions, purses, Coach.
And this was on, you put it on
Wow.
eBay?
You would put it on eBay.
Okay.
And then like by 2010, we also got on Amazon. By 2012, Amazon. So when we got on Amazon, we started skyrocketing because eBay was good, but it was already played out, and a lot of
Yeah.
people were,
Yeah.
especially Americans, were jumping on Amazon back then. And Amazon was nothing. When I tell you back then, Amazon
Yeah.
was nothing when we were doing it on Amazon. But Amazon started shutting up. So we had. I don't know how much of this is should I say, but
We talk about real shit.
Yes, we want to hear.
So it's like in eBay and Amazon game, the e-commerce game, the number of accounts you have gives you power. Basically, the number of stores you have. So there's a legal way of doing it is you getting permission from someone else to open an Amazon account under their name. So we would go down to Detroit. So this is where Detroit came into play again. And we would find like halfway houses and
Yeah.
like senior homes where there are seniors where we tell them that we pay taxes on their behalf. We have them sign a document with their identity. We would open up new Amazon accounts. Yeah, I'm not even.
Oh, that's
playing.
awesome. I love that.
And it's like we would keep each account under 30,000 so it doesn't affect their benefits and stuff like that. Blah blah blah. And by the time I got out of the business, I had 97 accounts.
Whoa.
What did you do
That's
with all
hustle
of them?
mentality.
We just let
Holy
it go. I mean, at the time, we didn't have it. When I got out, I basically had my partners buy me out. And eventually, some of them also got out because Amazon started shutting down accounts that are selling brand name products because
Oh, okay.
they wanted the brands to come on Amazon.
Got
Why
it.
would Victoria's Secret or Bed
Yeah.
Bath and Body come to Amazon when they have their own platforms?
Right.
When they have to compete with us.
Yeah.
Your
That makes
brand would
sense.
have to compete with us because we're buying their stuff on 85% off. They would have to sell that same product for 85%
Yeah.
off to be able to compete with us. So that kind of got like Amazon started getting more
They
stricter.
got bigger.
Yeah, they got bigger and they wanted other brands, so they started shutting down small guys. So this is around 2012. I started looking into real estate and foreclosure lists and like auctions, going into tax auctions, going into. So a lot of that I learned myself at the time, and I purchased my first property in 2012. It was a $12,000 house in Detroit on 6 Mile and Conan. $12,000, and it was bought on like a foreclosure auction by the bank. You basically bid online. And then like when I bought the house, I still haven't had the keys or title, so I went to the house. It was a vacant property. I'm just standing there looking around. Someone else shows up and he was like, this house is for sale. I'm like, yeah, I just bought it. And he was like, oh, I tried to buy it too. And it's like, oh, you know, someone beat me. I was like, it was me, right? And then he was like, you trying to sell? What are you trying to do? I'm like, sell? How much you gonna pay, right? And he said $23,000. And I was like, what?
And you just bought it for 12.
Yeah, I was like, I don't have the paperwork, but as soon as I have the paperwork, I would sell it to you if you sign the contract now. And he signed the contract, and we closed the next day. So I doubled my money. So it was exactly $12,500 that what I paid, and I sold it for $25,000 with everything, and it was like doubling my money.
Right.
And I was like, wow, this is much faster. Because what we were doing with all the product is that we would hold the discontinued product, so that we were holding on to our money for 2-3 months for us to be able to sell at full price.
Right.
You could flip the next day for double the price, but if you get full price, it's like almost 10 times most times.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was quick. I was like, yes, real estate. So 2012, 2013, 2014, I dwindled on my online business and started putting more of my money into real estate. Finally, like in those years, I got my license, I think 2012 or 2013, but sales was not like my mind. Like I was doing it because on my second deal, I looked at the like I didn't even know how to read all that stuff, right? So I started reading, and I'm like, real estate agent took $2,500, and they were charging me flat to help me. I'm like, how hard is that thing?
Yeah.
You know, like look up on Google. It's like 40 hours to get your license, and I didn't know like all the complications of paperwork. Like it's a whole another thing you have to learn. I was thinking, if I had my real estate license, I could represent myself. How hard that is, right? But anyway,
so
that's what led you to get it.
So you became a realtor, and then you became a broker when?
It's been 3 years. I think 3 or 4 years. 4 years maybe, yeah.
And
so
is that
right after 2020, right after COVID.
Is that any of your family in your business?
Any of no.
Are they doing?
My parents have like rentals, like they buy properties, but
that's business.
Yeah.
Like, what about your siblings? Like, what are they all doing now?
My sister works for. There's a title company that's connected.
So she's in real estate.
Yeah, but it's like I don't consider that real estate. It's just like you're a processor inside of a company, and you have nothing to do with real estate.
Does she help you out?
Not really. Like I mean, she does her own thing. She works for she's not independent. She works for Dan Gilbert. What's that title company name? Whatever.
Rocket.
Rocket has a branch inside.
Yeah. Okay.
And my brother-in-law, her husband works for Quicken or Rocket.
Right.
Is it Bedrock? Is that what you're thinking of?
No, they also have a title branch. I forgot the name, but
okay.
Yeah,
I mean, but they're still kind of somewhat in real estate, like
I don't know. I have a complete definition of what it's like.
True.
If you're not a wholesaler, flipper, a property owner, investor, selling houses, I don't consider loan officers as real estate. Is that a thing? Like, are the loan officers part of real estate?
I mean, they help the real estate agents. They work hand in hand.
It's connected.
I call it the housing industry.
There you go.
Yeah.
But speaking of...
Yeah, that's a big blanket.
Speaking of real estate, I want to hear your most wild real estate story that you have.
The one that anytime someone asks me, I have been asked this like multiple times, is one day I walk up to a house to show the house as an agent, and there's a lockbox to the property. And we try to open the door opens. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe their lockbox is missing or key's missing, so they left the door open. So we went inside and we hear noise. And we hear noise, and it's kind of like something thumping. And I'm like, what the heck is going on, right? So I'm like, tell my client, hold on 1 second, let me see. And we announce ourselves, thumping doesn't stop. I'm like, what is that? Like, is that an animal? So first thing that came in my mind, it was an animal, right? It was a dog. I was scared. Like, I'm scared of dogs, by the way. But I walk into the room.
Stop it!
I didn't see much because it was a blanket on top, thank God, right? But
he's like, I didn't see much.
But
That's a
guess
good
what my
story.
buyers say? I still want
What
to
they
see
say?
the house.
What?
Can I see the
so
rest
like,
of
let's
the
ignore
tell
everything.
people.
Let's just keep walking.
So what did the people say?
Yeah, did they just keep?
I do this. I close the door. I don't even remember paying attention to the thumping stop. I'm like, we gotta go. We gotta get out of here, right? And then we found out that it was squatters. They didn't know. The owners didn't know there was someone there, and there was supposed to be a lockbox, like the showing time sign.
Right.
But this is
Wait,
like,
so your
Probably
buyers
was
still wanted to walk
agents.
through the house though?
Because
they were
the
like,
lockbox
can we
was
see the
open?
rest of the house?
Well, they
I'm like,
probably. Yeah, that's
Was the
their
lockbox
mistake.
open?
there was no lockbox, so
Oh,
I
okay.
guess like
That's
that
their
somehow they
mistake,
broke the lockbox, got
Oh
the
my
keys, and
gosh.
this is 2015 Detroit. There would be properties on the
Yeah.
market for over 200-300 days without anyone going to the property. So you have
So
to
you
understand.
have to- yeah.
Today's day and age, it doesn't make sense. Like how?
Right.
You know, like the owner should know that there is a squatter. Back
No,
then-
it still happens.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know.
It still happens.
I haven't sold a Detroit house in 3 years, but yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
so if, wrapping up like our conversation, I'm enlightened. Like I don't.
I have so many more
I have
questions.
so many more questions, and it's been such an amazing conversation. But one of the questions I do want to ask you is, looking back on everything that you have a history. Like it's pretty amazing. Like you were a straight hustler. But what would you tell your younger self in the position you're in now?
Good question. I would like actually I thought about it. I saw your email and then last question. I just glossed over the questions and the last question
I
was
said,
that.
did you read the email?
And last question was that, right? And when I was driving, I was passing by a gas. Actually, I stopped at the gas station. When I was passing by it, it was like I would go to that gas station about 10 years ago, right? And I'm like, wow, this brings back a lot of memories. Why would I tell myself? Because your email clicked in my mind, and it would be like just trust in the process. Just put your head down and keep doing. Just believe in what you do, and keep doing what you do. Like for example, there's a lot of things I've done wrong, and we all do, right? We all do things that make decisions and decide to focus on one thing over another, and turns out like it was a bad decision and stuff like that. For example, I got out of e-commerce, got into real estate. Got into production, investing in real estate, got into production, built a team, got into coaching. Like you make all these decisions.
Right.
And a lot of times you do it because you want the new opportunity. Sometimes you do it because this opportunity is not working, right? Like you feel like it's not working. So I would just tell myself, just believe in the process and keep doing what you're doing, and have faith in whatever that I was doing, right? Back then, yep.
Like that.
I mean, that process is even crazy to think about because you probably never even thought
Oh,
when you were
never
doing
in
that
mind.
you'd ever be
A real estate agent,
a real estate
and then real
broker,
estate team
like
leader,
broker,
and
like
a
a success coach.
and,
Like you probably
and coaching agents now, like, and even like last 3 years have been crazy. Like I would say since COVID, like I went from individual agent with no team to a team, and then following year after come to EXP, and then year after this year is starting last year. So last year I decided that, hey, I'm going to minimize my production and focus more on coaching and build my coaching business. And every step of the way is just like new levels. And it's like you always doubt yourself because you have had opportunities in e-commerce. You have had opportunities selling houses. Like I sold over 1,000 houses, and a lot of them in Detroit, right? But it's like you know how to do that. So when you're going into a new thing, it's a whole new environment.
Yeah.
It's a whole new thing that you gotta rediscover. Like
Right.
it's kind of like you go from growing your Instagram, now you want to go on YouTube and you're like, what the heck is this?
Yeah.
So it's like you always question yourself, right? So that's what I would tell my younger self, that you don't have to question, just believe in the process. God always puts you in situations where you are just meant to be there. Just like when I was coming in here, there was one empty parking spot and I was like, bam, it's mine.
Right.
I love that.
So I would just like to end it by asking, what's next? What's next for Syed?
So I don't know. Like I like more. I'm more like going back to what I always used to like, which is like technology and stuff that there's big opportunity. There's like a big tech boom. It's like that will leave .com boom to like dust, right? So I'm like very passionate about like solving problems with technology, especially with the AI right now. Problem solving has been becoming so easy, right? Like you can do different things. The more complicated the problem is, easier it is to solve. So I don't know. For the next, I would say 6 years, I'm gonna focus on coaching
Okay.
related to digital marketing, related to technology, related to systems, related to scaling businesses with systems. Yeah.
Okay. Any apps or anything you working on as far
Oh,
as
yeah,
tech
like
goes?
So you want to plug anything real quick?
Yeah, for sure. So we have worked on a platform that we developed over the last 2 years. We finally, about 2 months ago, we launched it. About 8 months ago, we launched it to our coaching clients, people who are coaching with us. 2 months ago, we opened the doors to all agents be able to sign up. So we do like a 30-day trial for them to try it out. It basically combines all of your social platforms in one place, all the inboxes, being able to manage your social platforms from one place. You're able to, obviously, CRM, manage your contacts, segment your contacts, automate your communication, text, email, call, all that stuff, right? So, yeah.
What is that called?
I know.
Is it
Real
out?
estate-
It's out right
Yeah,
now.
Real
Right?
Estate Sales Machine. You guys can look it up.
Okay.
All right.
What's something no one knows about you?
Oh yeah. So I mean, a lot of the stuff I shared, a lot of people don't know, right? Growing up in Middle East,
Yeah.
me
I didn't know
like
that.
going to Pershing High School and
That whole transition
me
was
living in
amazing.
this country. A lot of people get shocked when they hear I've been in this country only 17 years. I don't know why. A lot of people don't know I'm 34 years old. A lot of people think I'm 25. What else? I speak 3 languages.
What are the 3?
Yeah. What are they?
Bengali, Hindi, English. I could read Arabic, but I can't speak it. I don't like.
Okay.
But you can
understand-
read it.
Yeah, I could read
Okay.
Arabic. Yeah.
So all of that is great. But what is something deep that no one knows about you?
Yeah.
Like something that people would be like, what? There has to be something.
Oh my God. There's a lot of things. Okay,
We
everyone
just
has
want
a
one.
platform.
We don't need all of them. We just want one. We just want one thing that people would like stop. Like when I say stop it, nothing.
God.
A Saudi Arabia
I know,
story
like no
or something?
story, no.
Yeah.
I mean, our last guest was struck by not last. Amy was
Amy.
struck by lightning. Like so, we
No.
Can't talk
nothing about that.
No.
There's not one thing that
I mean,
you can.
I almost like in the process of doing all of this, there were times where I was broke. Okay, like a lot of people don't get it. Like
Yeah.
they see you become successful from the outside. There were times like I was dead broke, like $300 in your account. I mean, for a lot of
I mean,
people,
that's not still
that broke.
that broke.
But when you have like a monthly cost of like $5,000, $6,000, that is
Yeah.
like business cost and like
So what was,
$300
what was life
having-
like then?
it's difficult. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm sure everyone has been there. If you're not born with a silver spoon in your mouth, everyone has been there. And, even like this happened to me when I got out of e-commerce and got into real estate. I decided like, hey, I'm going to sell my stuff off. Even though like I had like $200,000, I somehow ended up being broke. For me to really push myself into real estate, I think it's God's play end of the day. But so a lot of people that know me know my journey from like e-commerce days and all my whole thing. They never knew like in the midway I was like dead broke. They thought like, oh, you just took off and you just kept taking off.
Right.
And, a lot of people don't know. Yeah.
There's always a story behind success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Always.
success broker.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
there we
Success
go.
Syed, thank you for
Thank you
coming
so
onto the
much.
podcast. We really appreciate you
Yeah,
being
sure.
vulnerable
Yeah.
Very
Pleasure.
interesting.
and sharing your story. Stay tuned for the next podcast. We'll see you guys soon.
All right.
That's
Peace.
Bye, guys.
Bye,
Peace.
guys.